This is the sixth day of the octave of Christmas. And in these 6 days now, this is the second time we've heard about Anna, the prophetess. You wonder who she is and why do we hear from her, although she's only mentioned this in this limited context of the nativity narrative. She's mentioned only once in the gospel and has, of course, if you remember, given, in a sense, second status to Simeon in the temple the day that Jesus was presented. And yet, in the Gospel of Luke, Luke is providing more details about her that suggests that she is important to that whole experience. We're told that she is from the tribe of Asher, who was the son of Jacob, and her father was Phanuel, the name of the place where Jacob wrestled with an angel. Luke tells us that she was 84 years old. For 60 years, after a 7-year marriage, who then devoted herself to becoming dedicated to temple prayer. And when Jesus was presented in the temple, we remember hearing that Anna knew the long history of Israel and that he would be the fulfillment of the promise made of the coming of the Redeemer. Anna also knew the history of Israel well, and so she understood what Simeon foretold, that rejection and trouble lay ahead for Jesus. It's curious, but Luke's gospel is in some places is called the Gospel of Women, and hints that Anna knew Zachariah and Elizabeth and the story of their miracle child. Perhaps she was a part of a group that shared similar experiences, and that she was there in this group frequently, and that's how Luke added so much to his gospel narrative. That's why she was so significant to be, in fact, named. She helped to root the story of Jesus in the history of Israel, the history of the Jews. Each story made the promise feel a little bit more familiar, a little bit more human, as Jesus himself began entering into the life of the Jewish people, the life of God's chosen people. Each parish, if you think about it, at least maybe based on my experience and the experience of pastoral care of parishes here in the sanctuary, each parish has its own honored circle of women who hold all the memories of the parish community. They know the majority of the names of the families, and they are so important to the life and the history of a particular parish community. In a sense, they are the guardians who present the parish's identity. They know the traditions, they know the founding stories, they know the strengths and weaknesses of their community. They know the anniversaries. They know the story behind every old photo that they see and the sacrifices made by our deceased members. They remind us just how intimately we all are in living this life of faith, linked to one another. And that's a strength, that's a bond that is hard to break. How blessed we are to be called, to be welcomed, to be mentored, and to be taught to become ourselves in our part of the story. Jesus did not come among us as an idea, but Jesus came in the flesh. As he's present now in the interdependence that root all of us in our faith because of our shared experiences. We are not alone. We know Jesus lives in our community, and especially in our families, and calls us daily to accompany him into our world today with all of its challenges, opportunities, uncertainties, and demands. Anna waited all her life to see God's promise fulfilled in Jesus. She believed, and she thanked God, and shared her joy with everyone that was willing to listen to her. My friends, she now encourages you and me to do the same.